right, that video from St. Louis, Missouri, that couple has now been charged by the prosecutor, the circuit attorney down there in St. Louis, for waving their guns at protesters. So I put this up on social media and posted a question: is this a felony or is this self-defense? The other side of the story from the couple is that, listen, these people broke into our neighborhood. It's a gated community, it's a private community. They broke in, and they threatened us. And rather than wait for them to come into our house, we went out to keep them out of our house. So what exactly is going on here? It's my 13th juror question. Let's get right to our 13th juror comment of the day, coming from Peter, who says, basic human right, self-defense against the mob where police or security refused to come. It was just, warranted, and appropriate. Andrew, let me ask you what you see in that video, and what are the key factors in determining whether or not this is self-defense or a felony?
This is a tough one because your viewer is right. A person has the right to protect themselves and their property against a mob of people who are potentially a threat to them. This couple, however, is, I think, the least sympathetic couple I've ever seen in the history of humanity, to an extent. It might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but they're just standing out there waving things around like total idiots. And it's really disappointing as a member of the bar to see them doing that.
Next comment comes from Andy. I believe it is self-defense. I would have brought my gun out too. That's a gated community. They were there on their own property, and they did what I would do. They should hire some good attorneys and fight the charges. The crime committed, the protesters breaking into a private gated community. Just my opinion. Bernarda, how do you see this one? The Attorney General of the state of Missouri says they're exercising their rights under the Castle Doctrine. So he wants to override the local prosecutor.
But the exception here, Vinny, is that the protesters didn't actually come up on the steps of their home. They were in the common area, the common ground of that gated community. So those protesters, as you can see them, they are not going up the steps. They are not going towards the door. So at what point does the Castle Doctrine take place? Because as you can see, they are far away from those steps.
Lauren, tonight, of course it was not self-defense. What were they defending themselves against? It was a careless thing to do, and someone could have been hurt. Alana, what does this couple have to do? If they want to defend themselves, do they need to wait for someone or for the group to enter their house, enter their property, or is it enough if they allegedly threatened their lives that they can do that?
I disagree with my colleagues. I think this is a clear-cut Castle Doctrine self-defense. I mean, they ripped down the gates. They were in fear for their pets, for their lives, for their property. You don't really see the full angle of what other protesters were doing. The fact that they already took down the gates, I think that would indicate reasonably that something is imminent. They're not really pointing the weapon at any particular person. They have every right to defend their property, their lives. The Castle Doctrine is very broad. I agree with the Attorney General. This case should have never been charged to begin with.
Melanie, tonight, I would love to be on their case, not guilty. I guarantee that all jurors will be not guilty all the way down the line. Andrew, you know, taking the basic temperature of the Court TV viewer is kind of leaning not guilty on this one. What are you allowed to do? And this is, again, what their allegations are. I have no idea what the facts are. I wasn't there. But the couple is alleging that their lives were threatened. So if someone threatens your life but does not come on your property, can you do what they are doing?
Well, I think this is where the nuance of it really comes in.